This place, this day. Rand is up well before the first light. In truth, he didn't sleep at all. Avienda has already slipped out of the tent. When Rand comes outside, he meets the clan chiefs. Everything is ready. There is not much to say. They try to make him change his mind about the maidens, but Rand refuses. Lan is up early as well. The warder wants to know why Rand is wearing the sword again. He guesses Rand means to seek out Couladin today. Rand admits as much. Lan tells him not to be foolish. He may be good with a blade, but Couladin was practically born with spears in his hands. Rand can't risk it all for personal vengeance. Rand promises not to take unnecessary risks. Egwene and Avienda meet with them. Both women have decided to help Rand in the battle. Rand thought wise ones didn't get involved, but Avienda points out that she is not a wise one yet. The wise ones told her to do as she thinks she must. When they are ready to leave, a ring of maidens surrounds Rand. They refuse to let him go anywhere but to the observation platform and insist on guarding him there. After a while, Rand realizes he is not going to get anything done today if he doesn't give in. The whole party leaves for the observation platform. Rand, Egwene, and Avienda study the field. The women quietly discuss how to go about it. Rand feels one of them or both starting to channel soon lightning strikes down on the battlefield, harrowing the Shido out. Methodically, Rand starts to envelop the hilltops around the city in flames. Wow. How is Couladin even supposed to stand a chance, man? Is this even fair? I mean...
Is this even fair? Look, he's the dragon reborn. He is he who comes with the dawn. Karakarn, he can do what he wants, man. He's legit. Rand is legit. But he is up on this observation tower, and he feels some channeling. He feels some stuff going on, and he himself is using the power. It does say in the chapter, like, he doesn't necessarily always know what he's doing. Like, Rand sometimes things happen, weaves come from him that he just doesn't quite understand. And that goes back to his connection with Luce Theron. And just sometimes, this back and forth. It's mentioned that he retreats to the back of his mind sometimes he comes forward. Was that him that spoke? And it's Jason Natal, the Gleeman, who is thinking about Rand and realizing that maybe that madness is there, or he knows things about the description of Samael. He knows what he looks like. He has images pop into his mind that he knows he shouldn't know what these folks look like. So anyways, it's kind of a cool moment, and the weave and the stuff that Rand does in this battle is pretty intense and pretty significant. So but it's on now. I mean, really what we have to watch and what you watch in this chapter moving forward are those other clans. Do they join in with the Shido, and do they help them, or are they going to help Rand? Because they're kind of in the wayside there, trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and they didn't really talk about it in this chapter, but I thought I read it. Maybe I'm ahead. Isn't there a part where Rand starts to notice that Aviend is a little more calm around him now? The tensions have seemed to ease just a little bit.
Yeah, and that's before this as well. He does start.
That's what I thought, but it didn't happen to be in any of the Tarvalin summaries. So I did thought I'd bring that up because that was kind of worth mentioning, I think.
Yeah, like the tension has eased, and she seems more relaxed. He's thinking about Min is the only one who didn't make him feel foolish or whatever, and things like that. And yeah, he has those thoughts, and he's surprised by it. I think he thought maybe she would be more tense or more uptight. Although she's very content and very almost resigned or whatever. She's happy it happened. You can't argue with the rings, as she says, or the Rudion, right? I mean, the visions that she was given and stuff. So she's alluding to. She knew something like that might happen, and the wise ones have her close to Rand for a reason. Now, this was interesting, right? She's not necessarily a wise one, so she can fight in the battle and use the power. And she and Egwene are two of the most powerful channelers, like female channelers. Like that was mentioned about Egwene and Nynaeve as they came to the White Tower. And Avienda's strength is also very, very powerful. So big deal to have those individuals on your side. So,
Yeah.
and one more thing too, the maidens. It's an important little detail that the maidens always stay near Rand. They're always near him, and just something to keep an eye on. You know, Mat has a problem. Mat Cauthon has a problem, like hitting a woman or fighting with a woman. He talks about this a lot. Rand and Perrin both have. It's a two rivers type of thing. It's an Emmon Fielder type of thing. So he sometimes feels bad that the maidens are there and they're in trouble, and he almost feels like connected to them in some way. And especially with Avienda being there as well. And she's always trying to remind him that it's honor. They're his honor guard. They want to be in this position, even though he's in, they want to keep him safe, but at the same time, they know that that he may be required to fight and go into perilous situations, and they will go with him. So it's a weird situation that he's in where he's worried about their safety, thinking about them, and also like, I need to do what I need to do in this battle. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, things are heating up too, let's talk about this for a second, that, you know, it doesn't feel that long ago, right? That everything went down at that meeting at the end of the Shadow Rising, right? In which Couladin says, I know I'm the Dragon Reborn, right? Mm-hmm. And now we've been sort of chasing him, and there's not that much left of this book. So I don't know that this is at least me, again, first time reader here, I don't know that this is just sort of a stopgap. This might be like the battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might be. I mean, it seems like
there's only a handful of chapters. There's really only a handful of chapters left, and we're still gonna have to cut back to Egwene and those guys for you know, a bit of chapters, and then you still got to go back to Suan and Min. So we might come back, and it might only be 3 chapters, and it might just be this big battle with Couladin.
Yeah. And so, yeah, this is a big battle. It's playing out right around.
That's me. That's my foresight a little bit here, you know? Yeah.
No, I like that. I think that's important to, you're thinking about what is probably going to happen. You need to pay attention to this battle. This could be the confrontation. I mean, they mentioned Rand wearing his sword as if he is going to meet Couladin, and he wants to meet him this way. And he is almost like hell bent on meeting Couladin out in the field. He's up there on the observation tower. He's in the chapter. It alludes to the fact that he's not necessarily happy that he's up there, but he gets it. They're commanding the forces in the battle and so on. But then this lightning attack comes, and then he moves into the battle himself. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, there is a second part to this chapter. Let's get it going here. So, the second part of this chapter is Mat's point of view. So, Mat spots a group of Aiel again. They are probably Rands, but Mat is not taking chances. He has been attacked once already. West again instead of south, the direction he wants to take. Next time he stops to look around, he sees a group of Tyrian and Kyrian men. Though the looking glass that he won from Kin Tover, he also sees Aiel approaching. These are definitely Couladins, but the Kyrianen and the Tyrans can't see them yet. It's obvious to Mat they won't until it's too late. Calling himself a fool, he rides toward the Tyrianens to warn them. Before he knows it, he is giving orders in the name of the Lord Dragon. He tells the horsemen to divide in several groups and asks the Kyrianen if they can form the formation called Hedgehog, and gets Talmanes, the leader of the Kyrianen cavalry, to agree to his plan, though he only does so on condition that Mat leads half the horse. Especially the Tyrians are insulted, but Mat's insistence that their cavalry will not stand a chance against the Aiel, but at the end of the day, they do as he tells them. When the battle breaks loose, some of them decide to follow their own plan anyway and die because of it, but most of the group sticks to the plan. He sees the leader of the Tyrian horsemen go down, though. Good riddance. Mat throws the group of horsemen he held back with him into the battle. The Aiel never see them coming until it's too late. Then the lightning begins to fall and things get really hairy.
Yeah. So Mat's now in this battle.
What's going on with Mat?
Right. Yeah, he's in this. He was trying to get out of there. I think he was trying to get away from all of this and just leave it all behind. But as he, it reminds me of Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda, who says, "You often meet your fate or your destiny along the road you take to
On the
avoid it."
road.
Exactly what happens to Matt here. And so he sees a struggle. He realizes he's the one who has the knowledge and the ability to help save lives. No one else is in a position to command. Lord Wireman is gone. He has been sent. He was supposed to be in command of some of these troops here, these Tyrans and the Kyrianan. Rand sent him back to deal with pirates and other scoundrels back in Tyr. So they don't seem to have like a veteran kind of commander necessarily, and Matt steps in and is able to provide that for them, and they slowly start to kind of get themselves out of this pickle that they're in, and he does a great job. So he's leading these men in battle. So, and actually, what's interesting is, so Rand is with the Aiel, commanding the Aiel forces who are fighting Aiel, right? Aiel on Aiel, the Shido versus Rand and his group. Now Matt gets in among the Kyrianan and the Tyran lords, and he's commanding those forces. So it's different, so it's a smaller group, a much smaller group, but it's interesting that's, the type of folks that he's with, I guess. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, he's speaking in the old tongue. He's chanting out some, he's chanting away. They've got a banner up for him, and he's leading a charge. Let's see. Talmanis.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Because Rand's, they all have their own deal, even possibly outside of them being Taviran, right? Because that's like, we've gone over this before, where like the Taviran's one thing, and then Matt, Rand, and Perrin all have their own thing outside of that. Or with Perrin, it was always the eyes, and like the wolves. But Matt's sort of, it's been like the luck that he's had, but that seems like maybe that's a little bit more of his Taviran nature. But then he has always had these sort of, what's going on with Matt shouting these sort of old tongue things, and it seems like maybe now we're finally going to get what that is and explained a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And what's cool about this chapter is that when he's speaking the old tongue and he's commanding in the battlefield, he's saying things like forward horses and blood and bloody ashes. He's cursing and he's giving commands, but his gestures are what people are picking up on, and that's leading them forward. And it just sounds so, he's speaking a different language, the old tongue, and you have to be very, studied or learned, or something has to be special about you to know the old tongue, and it's inspiring to the men around him. And the Shido that they attack don't even see this coming. So, one, they see it as a good strategy. Two, he's intimidating, and he's giving commands. He's the Lord Dragon's friend, and he's out here giving commands on behalf of the Lord Dragon. He is now, right there is the moment where Matt steps into a position of leadership, and he becomes really a leader and says, no, it's like we joke in Game of Thrones about like the different, Tyrion leading the battle or Patchface leading the battle. This is a moment where Matt says, I will lead it. And he steps in, even though he's cursing all the while under his breath, blood and bloody ashes. What am I doing? This is insane.
Yeah.
But necessary. And here he goes. And
yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool. It's cool. It's super cool that all this is going on. With Matt, because we saw this a little bit in the last one, where Lan comes in and says, "Hey, let's take a look at this map." So as I'll ask you this, because I guess I'm in the same boat as you were at one point. Do you feel like it took too long to sort of start to we're in book 5, almost at the end of book 5, and it feels like some of these powers, it just takes forever to sort of. So if you're a first time reader. Yeah. If you're imagine being a first-time reader, not knowing how many books are going to be in the series. Like, are we ever going to learn the secrets as to what's going on here? Is it a bit too long to get some of this?
I could imagine if you were a first-time reader and you had never, you didn't know there were 14 or however many books, and you're just going along. You're thinking,
let's say you're reading this and whenever this came out, like 90s, late 90s
or
or early 2000s, whatever this book came out. Yeah.
Right. I think you would be saying that, like, there must be something extra special about, like, the more you build it up or you wait on delivering who Mat is and what his role will be, it seems like you're building it and building it and building it and building it. It's got to be something great. Right out the gate, Perrin has his powers. And I always thought that the dagger that Shadar Logoth actually, I don't know.
It's got to be his deal.
Yeah. And then that ends up not really being his thing. That was more of a pot-on feign. It was an obstacle. It's a part of Mat's nature, and it's a part of him realizing, like, okay, I almost died. I mean, which is part of, you see this whole thing where he wants nothing to do with Aes Sedai. He doesn't want anything to do with this. He almost died. He just took a dagger from Shadar Logoth, and he is wrecked, completely wrecked. So he doesn't have special powers as far as he knows. And for the longest time, until he gets to Tyr and he goes through the door and he gets objects of power and he gets room inside of his mind for these memories from generals and warriors and soldiers and whatnot. I guess he is the horn sounder, right? He does sound the horn and has that moment, which is cool, but where, that's not with him right now. And yeah, so it's just bizarre that it does take a while. I think you still would have hung in there, and I think a lot of people did, right? I mean, I don't really know what that would have felt like going through it, not knowing there were tons more books to come. Like, is this the second to last book? As you're writing this, or as you're reading it, I don't know whether or not Jordan had put out, like, oh, this is going to be 10 books, and we're on book 5. You don't know how many books is he going to go. So maybe he did release that information, and I just don't know that, but I think that would be... that you would wonder about that. Like, how long is this thing going to go on? Like, you're getting closer to bigger battles, and you're thinking, okay, what do we have to do to get to the last battle? And like, why doesn't Mat have all of his air quote powers or his abilities? They're there, but like now we're seeing them put into use, and it does take a long time. It does seem like it takes a while. Yeah, I mean, Mat, he had to leave Perrin, his whole arc, just on standby right now. It's just on standby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, literally zero Perrin to elevate Mat. So, I mean, one of the things people say sometimes is there's so many characters, and we've talked about this with your brothers and even just like some of the listeners. There's so many characters that it's awesome. The world is big. It's large, but like, to make room. When's the last time we really had a good conversation about Moiraine? Moiraine was all we were talking about, and now she's doing what Rand asked. She's there on the side.
Even like Tom's stories. Where's Loyal? Where's Perrin?
I know. Yeah.
But on Fane.
Right. And that's why we love doing the recaps, and more so on extended edition here. We're going to kind of go back and rehash some of those characters and talk about who they are, where they came from. I love that last episode that we did, which was the recap.
Yeah, I think
it's important.
Yeah, I guess like, it's different looking at it in obviously 2021 eyes, because we know that there's more books to come. But man, I could see how if you were reading this, because I remember like my brother and just some other people I knew who were reading this sort of as some of it was coming out, like the final few books hadn't been out yet, like the Brandon Sanderson ones. And just that sort of frustration of like, it just takes forever, to get through that. I think I can see why. I like reading through it now. It's like, man, I can see why you just like the characters get dropped and stuff like that. But
yeah, if Perrin's your favorite character, what are you thinking right now? You know what I mean? If he's your favorite character, like, I love that arc, and you were following that, it was so intense. And Robert Jordan saying that was his moment. Now let me take you on, like, if you were fans of Mat and you wanted more Mat, now you get more Mat, and this is Mat rising to his kind of Ta'Veren moment. Yeah. So wild, man. I keep saying it. The ending of this is insane. And so get ready to blitz ahead on this bad boy, because the ending of this is absolutely nuts.
I'm down. Awesome. I'm down. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for joining us here on Patreon or Apple Premium Podcast, which is kind of new too. We appreciate you guys supporting us here, and stay tuned for much, much, much more, guys. And remember that the grave is no bar to our call.